From a game with millions of loyal fans and players to a game that's split by two player bases, the downfall of a popular Battle Royale game, if you can even call it that anymore, has been nothing short of historical. In this video, we will be going over some main reasons why Fortnite has fallen off so hard. And to do that, we have to go back to the beginning. On September 26, 2017, the struggling game company Epic Games, who had recently released a PvE game called Fortnite Save the World, launched a mode inside of Fortnite called Battle Royale. Epic saw the success of other games like PUBG and Call of Duty and tried to replicate it with their own cartoony twist. We've all heard this a million times before, but Epic Games wanted a game that was a mixture of all the popular Battle Royale games in that time, like Call of Duty and the thriving game of Minecraft. The Battle Royale genre is simple but fun. You dropped onto a map with 80 to 100 players and fought to be the last one standing. When the game launched in September, many players hopped on not knowing the memories they would make in the coming months and years. Epic's plan was simple: get players to play their Battle Royale and maybe they would want to play Save the World too, but they didn't realize the success they would get from their new creation. After the launch of Season 0 of Fortnite, or most commonly known as the beta version, things started to change for Epic. People flooded the servers, and every game you got into had 100 players. While you might think this was just because it was a new game, which was partially true, I would argue that the big content creators who stream Fortnite on YouTube or Twitch really gave Epic the big break they needed. One of the things that made Fortnite stand out was the ability for players to build their own structures when they were in danger or just needed a place to hide. This made the game feel fresh to people. Many saw so much potential, but others thought it was a ticking time bomb. Would this success stay throughout the years, or would Epic's luck eventually run out? The man who really made the game possible, Donald Mustard, had huge visions for the game which genuinely got fans excited. After all this buzz around the game, Fortnite launched their first ever season. Season 1 of Fortnite saw a huge increase of players, many who came to the game from their brothers, cousins, and friends who told them about the game. Even though the game was free, Epic had a smart idea on how to make more money from the already popular game. They made it possible for players to buy different skins in a place called the Item Shop. This was a genius idea, mostly because the main audience of the game were young kids to teenagers. They also made another ship called the Season Pass, where you can unlock 2 skins and other cosmetics based on your level. But this wasn't as popular because people thought after the season they would just put them in the item shop for them to get later. And many people will regret that decision because the skins never came back, or at least we thought they wouldn't. Even though many people enjoyed the game, people thought the map was a little too blank. They needed a big POI to come to the game, and Epic delivered. Fortnite Season 2 had just launched on December 14th, 2017, and this was already gearing up to be one of their most successful seasons ever. One of the first things they did was give the players a big new POI. It was called Tilted Towers and is still, to this day, the most iconic Fortnite POI ever. They also gave us a couple others like Shifty Shafts and Junk Junction, but the most interesting thing they added was one of Epic's most genius ideas ever. They added a system where you could buy something called the Battle Pass or Season Pass for 70 tiers made up of 4 skins and many other cosmetics, all for the price of 950 V-Bucks. Players thought this was a steal. It was a win-win situation for Epic and the players. Epic got loads of money from this, and the players got some of their first and favorite skins from that season. Players couldn't get enough of the game, and Epic wasn't even scratching the surface of Fortnite's potential. Many notable YouTubers also started to become Fortnite icons like Ninja, Myth, and Dakotas, who are all famous for being good at the game, and many people wanted to replicate their playstyle. Fortnite was on top of the world. Then Fortnite started to regularly release seasons every 2 to 3 months. And I know seasons 3 and 4 were great, but that's not why we're here. Fast forward to July 12, 2018, Fortnite launched Season 5, arguably one of the greatest seasons of all time. But that didn't come without controversy. Now, coming with this season was a lot of good, like the desert biome at the bottom right of the map that brought the iconic location of Paradise Palms. But also a beloved strategy was taken out. Double Pump was one of the most iconic and fun methods of eliminating your opponents. Instead of carrying a shotgun and an SMG, people would carry 2 shotguns and no SMGs whatsoever. What felt like an innocent way of winning the game to the players, Epic felt the opposite. They felt like it was breaking the game, so they did what they thought had to be done. They removed it entirely from the game. Many players were sad and felt betrayed, because why would they take something away from the community knowing that it was loved by almost everyone? And keyword, almost. There's always those players that will complain and try to get it removed, and eventually they get their way. Those people I'm talking about are none other than controller players. Sorry guys, controller players felt like it was an unfair advantage due to the PC players who could move a lot quicker. So, Epic made a compromise and added the double barrel shotgun for the double pump users and the P90 and SMG for the controller players. I'll let you guys guess which one was stronger, but anyway, this left a really bad taste in a lot of players' mouths, and those players never really forgot about it. But Season 5 was still a massive hit, and Fortnite wasn't even close to being done. Fast forward to December 6, 2018, and Fortnite just launched Season 7, also regarded as one of the best seasons and one of the most nostalgic for some players due to it being around Christmas time. But even though it was a great season and brought the iconic ice biome with Polar Peak, Happy Hamlet, and Frosty Flights, there were also a couple of things that made players start to quit the game. Fortnite made a huge mistake. Epic Games wanted to add another one of their game's weapons to Fortnite, and of course, they eventually did. Fortnite added the Infinity Blade, one of the most controversial weapons to ever be in the game. Many players were furious and Epic was to blame.
You know what? No! No more! This sword's gotta go! This sword's gotta go! I am sick and tired of this sword! Enough is enough! Get it out of here!
The true power of the Infinity Blade was shown in a tournament that took place at the start of a season.
That was Predator. No, you're not the Predator, bud. He is. Psalm is a Predator. Another one's going to be right in front of him. Some defense coming through here, but what are you going to be able to do when you're just cutting through the structures and Uzi falls to the Infinity Blade?
There it is. See, he's looking to break the structures that are connecting these high ground players so he can pick up more elims too from the fall damage.
Gonna get another one here. He's gonna be trapped inside of the storm, though.
Doesn't matter. He can jump anywhere he needs to be right now.
Gets another elimination. He's on a killing spree. Oh my word! He has picked up 8 eliminations, 10 eliminations. It doesn't matter anymore. This is Psalm's world, and we are just merely living in it.
Oh, the guy fell.
That's number 11. Falling. Because he's creating so much carnage. He's creating so much carnage. He got another one. Bizzle. The Infinity Blade is too good. It's so powerful.
He is jumping on every single player here, connecting. Does he need to build?
Finally.
Fortnite eventually got rid of it, but the damage was already done. Another thing that also got the players mad was the planes. People would get into the planes at the beginning of a match, terrorizing players on the ground, and even in the sky. And it didn't really help that people actually started to get good at the game. The game felt more than just a way to have fun with your friends. Instead, it felt like a life or death to some people, thus giving them the first rendition of the sweat, the tryhard. The tryhards were globally frowned upon by the more casual players because of their unusual way of building and shockingly good aim. Many players felt overwhelmed and quit during this time because of them. This was also a time period where we began to see the phrase, just adapt, even more. But that phrase will become more controversial as the seasons progress. We also saw the addition of creative, which we'll touch on later in the video. On August 1st, 2019, Fortnite released their most controversial season, Season X, or also known as Season 10. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything because this season was really only talked about because of two things, the mech and the live event. Let's start with the mech.
There's a whole like
he's so trash. If I had one kid.
Hey man, got it.
No! My body. Oh! Oh! I hate this game. Got it. Straight at it.
oh God, this game is so bad, bro. I'm about to do something wrong.
Está dentro! Epic Game! Please! Look at puzzle! Please!
up, man? Sick, what's up?
Looking back, you might laugh at these clips of people raging, but if you were there, it was not fun at all. The mech broke the game so badly that it had its biggest dip in playership ever. People were furious and it seemed like Epic didn't care. They refused to remove the mech, but after widespread criticism, Epic folded and took out the mech. Something that they're going to do a lot after this season. And now we have to look at the short rise that Fortnite had during the end event or the end of OG Fortnite. Fortnite Chapter 2 had finally been released after players waited almost a week to get back on. Player counts shot up and it seemed like Fortnite was back. But that didn't last long. Even though Chapter 2 just started and there was a new map, players started to get bored of the same old game. The game was dry and player counts reached another low. Season 2 was delayed a couple of times, but finally, after a 4-month and 5-day wait, Fortnite launched Chapter 2 Season 2. Chapter 2 Season 2 was an instant classic. Epic introduced bosses and guards to the game, and even brought more mythics. The game was in another prime, and like a lot of other people, was one of my favorite seasons. Even though the hype was real and the game was good again, Fortnite made another mistake. Fortnite had delayed the next season again, and Season 2 also dragged on for what seemed like an eternity, or in short, 4 months. But when it came to an end, it was pretty satisfying as it ended with another iconic event. Now I know Season 3 and 4 were really good and personally some of my favorites, and the chapter being an overall pretty good chapter, but this video will be hours long if I talked about each individual season. So in short, Chapter 2 started off great, but Fortnite failed to deliver that feeling we had in Chapter 1. I don't meet many people who have nostalgia for Chapter 2, but they're definitely out there. And don't get me wrong, I love Chapter 2, but it never really did have the same vibe that Chapter 1 gave off almost 8 years ago. Wow, I really sound old. But anyway, the problem with Chapter 2 is that it tried so hard to bring things that were new and fresh to the game, but most of it really felt like a cash grab. Something that they don't really try to hide nowadays. People get better and better at the game, and it feels like Fortnite only cares about the competitive scene of the game. Whatever the pros want, the pros get. If a fine item comes to the game and the pros don't like it, they immediately take it out. But let's not oversaturate Chapter 2 and let's move on. Now, this might seem a little vague, but I think it suits the upcoming chapters pretty well. Chapter 3 had so much promise. A great start to the chapter with the first season. A lesser but good second season. A very mid and overall boring third season. And a season that sounds good on paper but Epic fails to deliver. Those in short perfectly describe Chapter 3, and I know it's not just me that feels this way. So many chapters now feel rushed. If you told me in Chapter 2 that Chapter 6 would be out in 2025, I wouldn't believe you. It's become pretty apparent that every chapter really isn't that different, because they all use the same blueprint. A promising first season, an average second season, bad third season, and even worse fourth season. And then to make up for it, they give us the old map back, which is exactly what they did to us after Chapter 4. They made Season OG, which was amazing even though it felt very incomplete, but in all honesty it felt like a huge crash grab in fan service. Nothing nowadays is to genuinely make the fans happy. Epic just lost a lot of money from their last season. Let's make an OG season so we can make some of that back. Chapter 5 started out with promise and ended up being forgettable, which caused them to launch Remix, which was also a big letdown to fans. Anything Fortnite pulls out is hit or miss, or just throwing ideas at the wall and seeing if any of them stick. Now that we're in Chapter 6, the player count's not nearly as high, and the game feels like a desert even though a new season came out. It doesn't help when creative games are kind of shoved in your face in the lobby, making it very overwhelming for some players. The players are spread thin over all the modes and creative games that have come out in the past couple of years. Playing Fortnite in 2025 feels like it's a simulation of World War III. It's almost impossible to win, either because of the sweats who don't get off the game and probably haven't seen their family and friends in over 5 years, or the 9-year-olds who abuse the game's mechanics and just tell you to adapt to the game like you're some animal in the wild. And we've been seeing a lot of it in the past couple of years. Don't get me wrong, I like to have fun weapons in the game too, but when people use those to make the game virtually unplayable, then tell you to adapt to a minigun rocket launcher, it gets a little repetitive. Now in short, Fortnite has been a game of success and also failure. It started out with success and maintained its success because it was so revolutionary. But when you keep on using the same blueprint for seasons and chapters, it gets old very quickly. Chapter 1 is so beloved because it was so much more different than all the other chapters. Now it feels like we're in a never-ending loop of Fortnite chapters and modes. When will the game hang up their cleats and ride off into the sunset, or does it need to keep milking collabs and TikTok for whatever's new? When will Epic Games realize that enough is enough?